I arrived at the office just after 8, the reception lights still low and the scent of fresh coffee drifting from the empty break room. My suit jacket hung over one arm, my briefcase in the other. In a few minutes, the lobby would fill with the usual chatter, assistants catching up over mochas, early birds setting up their dual monitors, the hush before the busy storm of our family company's day. But this morning felt different. I could taste it in the air. I moved toward the elevator, nodded to the night manager, and pressed the button. As the doors slid closed, I checked my phone. 3 texts from Dad time-stamped at 6 a.m. Big day, he'd written. Show her what you're made of. And from Mom. Trust yourself. You belong here. My heart had fluttered when I read them. Warmth spreading at the reminder that until yesterday, this place had been my second home, my proving ground, my future. But 6 hours later, at precisely 2 minutes past 2, I would find that home shuttered for me, and my future ripped out from under my feet. I stepped off the elevator on the 22nd floor, where my office sat at the end of the hallway with panoramic views of the city. I waved to Carla, my executive assistant, who was tapping away at her keyboard in the outer office, and slipped inside. The blinds were still drawn, flooding the room with a muted amber glow. Morning, I called, dropping my things onto the desk. I leaned back in my chair, rubbed my temples, and let out a sigh of satisfaction. Everything was going perfectly. My latest quarterly projections had blown past our targets, 3 new partnerships, 2 emergent markets, and an expansion plan ready to roll, my plan. Dad had given it his blessing, and I'd worked nights to refine every chart. Mom had smiled when she saw the final deck. I was on track to be named next CEO. Then came the email. It arrived at 7:02 a.m., flagged, the subject line, Important Management Update. I saw Emma's name in the sender field, Emma Caldwell, the golden girl, the niece Mom had adopted when our cousin died, the one who'd graduated summa cum laude from Harvard, interned at Goldman, and was single-handedly rewriting the company's CSR policies. I'd always liked Emma. She was smart, driven, and fun at family dinners. We'd grown up close, sharing secret midnight phone calls and dreams of shaking up the industry. But overnight, she'd gone from rising star to ruthless usurper. I waited another half hour, watching colleagues hurry past my door in expensive heels and tailored suits, coffee mugs in hand, smiles and nods exchanged. Then I clicked open the email. Dear leadership team, I am pleased to announce that effective immediately, there will be a reorganization of the executive board. As part of this reorganization, the role of Chief Operating Officer is being retired, and all responsibilities are being consolidated under my office as Chief Transformation Officer. This strategic decision aligns with our new vision for unified leadership. Thank you for your contributions to date. Please meet with Human Resources to discuss transition details. Emma Caldwell, Chief Transformation Officer. My hands went numb. COO, role retired, transition details. My pulse thundered. Every congratulatory glance from other execs now felt like a knife twisting. I closed the email and stared at the screen until the room began to spin. Carla knocked softly at the door. Alex, Emma just called. She stepped in, eyes wide. You're seeing this? I shook my head, mouth dry. Fired. They fired me. Her lips trembled. They can't do that. I know. I closed my laptop. I need to talk to HR. Linda from HR sat me in a small conference room, the walls padded in beige cloth, chairs arranged for 3 but only 2 occupied. Her clipboard was stacked with papers, plastic binder clips biting into the top edges. Alex, as you know, this is a strategic decision, not a reflection on your performance, she said, voice soft. Emma has consolidated operations for efficiency. They'll transition your team to her oversight. I took a breath. So I'm out. She nodded. Your position no longer exists. We can offer a transition package, 6 months salary, benefits, and outplacement services. My chest tightened. I could feel the first trickle of hot tears, but I swallowed them back. 6 months, I repeated, staring at the handout on the table. 6 cushy months to, what? To tuck my tail and slink away, to find another job. If Emma thought I'd walk, she was wrong. Do you have any questions? Linda asked. I stood, shoulders squared. Yes. Who approved this? My parents? Linda hesitated. Emma holds their power of attorney. They've delegated authority to her. Power of attorney, emergency decree. Of course, Mom had been recovering from her surgery, Dad buried in board sessions overseas. Emma had waited for the perfect moment. I nodded. Thank you. I turned to leave, leaving the papers untouched, the offer of comfort crumpled on the table. The hallway felt impossibly long as I walked back to my office one last time. My team's desks were already empty. Chairs turned inward, laptops packed away. I slowed my pace, peered through the glass walls, and saw the flicker of memories. Morning stand-ups, the laughter after victories, the impromptu brainstorming sessions at 3 a.m., fueled by takeout containers, and double-shot espressos. This place had been my canvas, my proving ground. And now Emma had erased it, papered over the walls, replaced my portrait in the lobby with her smug smile. My stomach churned. I felt a surge of anger, hot, alive, unstoppable. But beneath that fury was something else, a slow, spreading calm, a realization that Emma had made a fatal mistake. She thought she could be me better than I could be. She thought she could seize my work, my team, my legacy, and pit herself against someone who would give in. She didn't know me. I straightened my shoulders, squared my jaw, and pressed a button on my phone. Marcus, it's Alex. We need to meet. Marcus and I sat in a quiet corner of our favorite dive bar, the one with the neon Bud Light sign, the sawdust floor, and the bartender who knew our orders by heart. The place was empty save a couple of night owls, so we spoke in hushed tones, voices low. I'm fired, I said, sliding my whiskey back. TO eliminated. Parents MIA. Emma holds the power. He stared at me, then down at his beer. Wow, that's brutal. I traced the rim of my glass. She overplayed. Nobody consolidates the COO role without a plan to replace it. She's got her own favorites, but they're green. She's banking on momentum, shining her leadership torch, but she's overlooked one thing. He raised an eyebrow. Your plan to get it back? I leaned forward. We build a shadow company, a parallel ops engine, lure our best clients and vendors, demonstrate we're indispensable, then reveal we own the critical patents, the tech that runs the back end. Step by step, we collapse her house of cards. Marcus whistled softly. That's ambitious. Also illegal if you steal proprietary data. I smirked. We won't steal. We'll create. Remember my side project, the AI-driven logistics platform? I built it in my spare time. I incorporated it under a shell entity. I have full ownership, zero Parisian legal entanglements, nothing tied to our family company. It's ready to launch. He stared, considering. That's your ace. I nodded. We launch next week, pitch to our clients as a service offering addition. Show them it reduces costs by 30%. Then watch Emma's board scramble. She outsources to our new company, realizes where the real value is. By the time she figures out I'm behind it, the board will pressure her to bring me back, or she'll be ousted herself. He grinned, slapping the table. You're a genius and a bastard. I raised my glass. To the new company. To the new company, he echoed, clinking glasses. The ice crashed, like the start of something big. Back at my apartment late that night, I spread my files across the kitchen table, pitch decks, incorporation papers, NDA agreements, server logs, every algorithm snippet flagged property of Caldwell Enterprises. I'd removed those references weeks ago. Now my code, my designs, my vision sat in pristine order. I flipped open my laptop, the screen glowing with the console dashboard of Project Apex, my AI logistics engine. I watched the demo run, tiny colored bars ebbing and flowing, predictive analytics recalibrating in real time. I leaned back and let out a low laugh. The irony. Emma had consolidated the old company for efficiency, but she'd left the next generation engine unguarded, because she didn't know it existed. The company she thought she'd taken over had a beating heart that was mine alone. My phone buzzed, a text from Linda, HR director. Emma wants to see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Important exploration of new roles. She's offering consulting or a transition to advisory role. She wants you back. I stared at the message. Interesting. She was already feeling the tremors of my coming launch. I typed back one word. Sure. I pocketed the phone, took one last look at the dashboard flickering on the screen, and turned off the lights. As I walked through my dark apartment, I felt a surge of excitement. Tomorrow's meeting would be fun. Emma would try to lure me back, dangling consultancy fees, equity crumbs, titles, but I had bigger plans, a company that would eclipse theirs, a vision that would rewrite the rules of the industry, and the satisfaction of watching their golden girl realize she'd stolen from a vault that was empty. Mom and Dad thought they'd given Emma the keys. She'd unlocked the door, but I was already inside, planting the seeds of my own empire. She'd taken my place at the table, but I was building a new one, and tomorrow I'd smile as I handed her a brand new proposal, one she couldn't refuse, or else she'd watch me take back everything, piece by piece, before she even understood what happened. I climbed into bed, mind racing with launch tactics, marketing hooks, investor angles. Somewhere in that restless excitement, I felt a rush of pure joy. Let Emma call it transition. Let her think she'd shown mercy. Because the real shift was about to begin, and it would end with me in control, just as I always belonged. I drifted off to sleep with a smile on my face, dreaming of a phoenix rising not from ashes, but from boardroom betrayals and sibling rivalries, rising unstoppable, golden, and more powerful than ever. The sun hadn't yet crested the skyline when I slid into the glass-walled conference room on the 22nd floor. Emma was already there, standing at the head of the polished table, arms crossed, brow furrowed in a way I'd only ever seen when she was staring down a tough negotiation. Soft morning light caught the edges of her hair, and for a moment I remembered the girl who used to beg me for extra circuits to build the world's fastest robot. That girl seemed a lifetime away. I tapped my portfolio closed and offered a polite nod. Good morning. She gave me a tight smile. Alex, thank you for coming. I've been thinking a lot since our conversation. I let her words hang. Her offer from yesterday, consulting fees, a title that sounded reassuringly vague, felt like a knitted sweater someone handed me when they'd already locked me out into the cold. Today, I had my own proposal. She gestured to the chair opposite hers. Please sit. I waited until she did, fists unclenching inside my coat pockets. Then I reached into my briefcase and laid out three things: the incorporation certificate of Apex Logistics Solutions, my company, a slide deck titled Apex, the unseen engine behind Caldwell Efficiency, and a printed term sheet for a strategic partnership. Emma's sharp eyes flicked between the documents. I see you've been busy. I expected nothing less, I said. You wanted a transition. I've drafted one. Her eyebrow arched. Really? I thought you would want to be an advisor. Take a step back. I slid the Apex certificate forward until it was under her nose. Apex Logistics Solutions is operational. Our alpha clients are 3 Fortune 500 retailers. We've done pilot runs for regional distribution, showing a 32% reduction in shipping errors and a 28% cut in idle warehouse time. We're live. Her shoulders dropped a fraction. Live? I nodded. And profitable. We invoice monthly. My first invoice went out yesterday. That's why I'm here. We can't keep Apex hidden in the shadows of Caldwell Enterprises. You've consolidated the old company. You need a next-gen logistics engine. I'm offering you the chance to integrate Apex under a joint venture model, 60% my side, 40% yours, with governance council that includes both of us, plus Dad as honorary chair. Silence settled in the room, thick and expectant. Emma pressed her lips together, scanning the term sheet. On the surface, it seemed generous. I'd give her equity, a seat at the table, the prestige of co-head of innovations. But the real power lay with me. Apex would control the technology stack, the customer relationships, the revenue stream. I have to admit, she said finally, this is unexpected. I leaned forward, hands flat on the table. You tried to take everything from me, but you can also be my partner. You can build the future with me, instead of clinging to the past. Her gaze wavered. I'd seen that feeling before in her eyes. The flicker of doubt, the pull between ambition and family loyalty. I need to discuss with the board, she said, gathering the papers. This is a big shift. I nodded. By tomorrow morning, I need your answer. I'd rather not take another unexpected step. She stood, tucking the documents into her folder. I'll let you know. As I exited the building, my phone buzzed. Dad, how did it go? I paused on the sidewalk, traffic humming around me. It went exactly as planned. His reply came almost instantly. Good. Keep me posted. Love you. I tapped a quick, love you too, then slipped into a rideshare. My heart hammered, not with nerves, but with excitement. Apex was alive, and tomorrow Emma would either join or be left behind. Back at my apartment, the city's lights still winking through the windows, I worked late into the night tweaking financial models. I uploaded client testimonials, drafted an announcement for my investors, and carefully forwarded a heads-up version of the deal terms to Dad and Mom, Seepthing Marcus. I knew which side the family would choose if they were given the full picture, the side building tomorrow, not preserving yesterday. By 9 p.m., the world felt quiet. I closed my laptop and crossed to the balcony. The cool breeze carried distant car horns and the hum of neon signs. Soon, this city would run on Apex's algorithms. I could almost see the automated forklifts guided by my code, the shipping routes optimized in real time. I closed my eyes, breathed in, and let myself feel the victory before it was official. The next morning, my phone lit up with a message from Emma. Can you come to the boardroom at 10? 2 words, but powerful. At exactly 10 a.m., I slipped in. She stood at the head of the long table, flanked by board members, some familiar faces, some new. The air was thick with anticipation. She gestured to the seat beside her. I sat, laying my portfolio down. One decision changed everything yesterday, she began, locking eyes with me. I was furious when I got your proposal. At first, I thought you were playing games, but then I realized something. Caldwell Enterprises has been running on autopilot, letting legacy systems and legacy thinking hold us back. Apex is the future. Her voice softened. I've been authorized to form a joint venture, Apex Caldwell Global. We'll pool resources, Apex's tech, Caldwell's infrastructure. You'll lead the JV as CEO. I'll be Chief Operating Officer. Dad and Mom will be on the advisory council. Profits split 60-40, as you suggested. I felt a smile tug at my lips. Vindication, yes, but also relief. This was more than revenge. It was redemption. She took a breath. Thank you for giving me the chance to make this right. I nodded. Thank you for choosing the future. The months that followed blurred into a whirlwind of activity. We announced the joint venture at an industry summit. No fanfare, just a simple press conference with Dad standing proudly behind us. News outlets hailed Apex Caldwell Global as the most significant logistics partnership in a decade. Investors poured in, shares soared, and our first quarter projections were already eclipsing Caldwell's previous records. Emma and I fell into a rhythm. She handled client relations, smoothing over any bruised egos from the old guard. I focused on R&D, fine-tuning the AI models to predict demand spikes, reroute shipments around weather events, even automate vehicle maintenance schedules. Both of us learned from each other. I honed my people skills under her tutelage. She embraced the beauty of code and data. One evening, after a 16-hour day, she and I found ourselves alone in the empty office, only the blue glow of screens lighting the desks. She stirred her tea and looked at me. Can you believe how far we've come? I leaned back in my chair, muscles tired but mind buzzing. I can. Together we're unstoppable. She hesitated, then smiled. I owe you an apology again for everything I did. I was so focused on successes that I forgot what really matters. Family, integrity, creating something meaningful. I held her gaze. I forgave you because I believed you had it in you. You just had to find the right path. She nodded, relief and gratitude warring on her face. So what's next? I tapped a button on my keyboard, and the projection screen flickered to life. A world map dotted with glowing nodes. Global expansion, Africa, South America, Southeast Asia, and a new R&D lab for autonomous drone delivery. Her eyes widened. You're already planning drone delivery. I grinned. We've been running simulations for months. Now we wait for regulatory approvals. She laughed softly. Knowing us, we'll have the first drone route by the end of the year. On the morning of the first live drone shipment, Dad, Mom, Emma, and I gathered on the rooftop helipad overlooking the warehouse below. A sleek white drone hovered above a pallet of medical supplies bound for a remote village. The wind picked up, tugging at our coats. Mom pressed the button on the remote. The drone dipped, tilted, and shot off toward the horizon, its navigation guided by Apex's neural nets and Caldwell's logistics grid. We watched, hearts pounding, until the dot of light disappeared into the morning sky. Dad turned to me, eyes misty. You've done more than change the company, he said. You've changed our world. I looked at Emma, then at Mom. We did it together. She reached for my hand. Thank you. I squeezed it. Thank you for believing. As the drone's signal blinked green on Emma's tablet, I felt something swell in my chest. Pride, love, and a fierce joy that this wasn't my story alone. It was ours. Below us, the press team captured every moment for the live feed. Headlines would later read, "Siblings reunited launch groundbreaking drone delivery. Family company embraces future." But up here on the rooftop, there were no headlines, just 4 people, bound by blood and ambition, watching the fruits of their labor take flight. The drone's signal beeped, delivery confirmed. Cheers rose, laughter bubbled up, and even the wind seemed to applaud. In that instant, I knew I'd taken everything back, and in doing so, gained something far more valuable. A family restored, a company reborn, and a future we'd build side by side.